Subcommittee. Can I have a proposer for a chair for the meeting, please?
If I can propose, Councillor Hunt.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for Councillor Hunt?
I will second that to an ideal.
Thank you, Councillor Llewellyn. Over to you, Councillor Hunt. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Jeremy and Alan. Good afternoon, Prynawn Da, and welcome to this hybrid meeting of Cabinet Policy and Resources Subcommittee on the 24th of January 2023. I'm Councillor Steve Hunt, leader of Neath Talbot County Borough Council, and I'd like to welcome members of the public who may be viewing this meeting. Could you please ensure your microphone is switched off and you are here to observe the meeting only? A few other points to cover before we move on to the next agenda item. This meeting will be recorded. Please can you ensure that your phones are switched to silent for the duration of the meeting, and can members and officers participating virtually ensure that their microphones are switched to mute unless speaking, please. For those who are present in the chamber, please use their microphones when speaking, and when asked to raise your hand, can members who are virtually viewing this meeting raise your electronic hand, and members who are in the chamber, please raise your physical hands. I have received no public questions for this meeting this afternoon, so I will move swiftly on to agenda item 3, which is declaration of interest. Are there any declarations of interest that members would like to make? Please could members say what the items are and what the interest is, and if Tammy then can forward you an electronic version of the form for you to complete and email back. So Tammy, can you check if there's any declaration of interest, please?
I see none, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 4 is the minutes of the previous meetings. The minutes from the meeting held on 15th of November 2022 are included in the agenda for approval. They're on pages 3 to 6. Does any member have any comments to make on the accuracy of the minutes?
I see no hands, Chair.
Thank you, Tammy. Please, can I have a proposal and seconder to approve these minutes, please?
I can propose.
Happy to second, Chair.
Thank you both. So we're all in favour of these minutes? Yeah? Okay. Tammy, can you confirm they've been approved?
Yes, Chair, for accuracy, those minutes have been approved.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 5 is the forward work programme. Tammy, have you anything further to add to the forward work programme, which is on pages 7 and 8?
No, just for noting, Chair, but if you have any queries, please feel free to voice them. Thank you.
Any member, any queries? I see none. So we will note the forward work programme. Thank you. Agenda item 6 is the miscellaneous grant fund application. The report is on pages 9 to 13 and is here for a decision. Hugh, do you have officers have anything further to add?
Just briefly, Chair. On page 13, you'll notice that an acronym CIC is used without an explanation. So that stands for Community Interest Company. So I apologise. I know it's been mentioned in previous meetings about use of acronyms without explaining them. So I apologise for that. And the proposal is that we grant a grant of 95% towards the rent for these assets, which are council-owned assets, but are run on our behalf by the organisation. So that's all, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Hugh. Members, any questions? I now refer members to the recommendations on pages 11 of the agenda pack and the appendices on page... Sorry, Alan, you've got your hand up. Apologies,
Yeah,
I missed it.
I did.
No,
sorry,
go on.
in the chamber. I did put my hand up. Yeah, it's not a question as such, but it's just a point that I think it'd be helpful when the finance team have the opportunity. There are a number of new members, obviously, in the council in recent months, and I think it would be helpful to perhaps circulate some information about the miscellaneous grant fund and its criteria, so that members are aware, so they may be able to advise organisations in their areas over how they can apply for the grants and how the system works. And I know that in the private report there are a number of references to various trust funds and so on that we administer, and it might be helpful again if members were able to have a briefing really on those, so they can advise their constituents if they can benefit from them, educational trust funds and so on.
Thank you for that, Alan. I see no issues on the first point. Craig, is there any issues on the second point he raised about within the private report? Is that something that is okay for us to do?
Yeah, Councillor Hunt, that'd be absolutely fine. At the end of the day, the actual decision making you take, and you have to go into private to be able to discuss that. But if the concept, obviously, Councillor Llewellyn is relating to, is just in general about the type of support ultimately that can be made available, that's something that can be picked up at a later point. That's no problem at all.
Oh, thank you for that, Craig. So, with the members' question, are members happy to support Alan's added views to the report?
Chair, just to say that won't be a recommendation, but I believe Hugh will respond to that outside of the meeting for members. Is that okay, Hugh?
Yep, yeah, I was just going to say, Chair, that I'll take that as an action to circulate the criteria for the miscellaneous grants fund. I'll pick up the education trust fund and the other one, the Howell, whatever it's called, I can't remember the name of it, sorry. I'll circulate to all members of council so they've got the criteria. So to cover your point, it won't be specific relation to applications, it'll be the criteria for the funds.
Excellent. Oh, thanks for explaining that. You all right with that, Alan?
Yes, thanks very much indeed. It's just to share the information.
Yeah, I'm sure we can support that, yeah. So I now refer members to the recommendation on page 11 of the agenda pack and the appendix on page 13. I will propose this recommendation. Can I have a seconder, please?
Happy to second.
Thank you, Jeremy. Members, if you do not indicate to the contrary by raising your hand, I will assume that you are in favour of the recommendations. Tammy, can you confirm whether this has been approved?
I see no indications to the contrary, Chair, so that report has been approved.
Thank you, Tammy. Agenda item 7 is the anti-fraud corruption strategy. This report is here for information. Do officers have anything further to add?
Just to add, Chair, that it is an update of the previous strategy and it is in front of members today for information, as you just mentioned. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Hugh. So, members,
Chair, sorry, if I could just ask Hugh a question a second. Hugh, did you have some information about the numbering of the policy for us?
Oh, yes, sorry, I did mention it in the scrutiny committee, but I need to say it again. Sorry, just in terms of on page 20 of the report pack, where the numbering runs 1.1, 1.2, 1.4, it should run obviously 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So just to draw members' attention to that in the Cabinet Board as well. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for that. You bear that in mind, and Tammy's made those recommendations. So do our members have any questions on this report? I see none. No? So we'll note this report then. Agenda item 8 is urgent items. I have received no urgent items. Agenda item 9 is access to meetings. Members, at this point, we have to consider the information contained within the private reports. Are members in agreement to move into a private session? I'll propose. Could I have a seconder, please?
Happy to second.
Thank you, Jeremy. Members, if you don't indicate to the contrary by raising your electronic hand or physical hands, I will assume that you are in favour of moving into a private session. Tammy, can you confirm if any hands are raised, please?
Yes, I see no indications to the contrary, Chair. So just to confirm, we will stop the recording and there are no members of the public or press present. Thank you.
Thank you. And that is now confirmed? Excellent. Okay. So agenda item 10 is the council tax write-offs. The private report is on pages 33 to 47 and is here for a decision. Do officers have anything further to add?
Just to add, Chair, I suppose, taking up